To the Deep Dive Podcast. I am Dr. Greg Nigh, and today the topic I'm gonna eventually be talking about a therapy, but I never get to my point very quick. So I'm gonna get you to why I think this therapy is really maybe foundational, in the sense that it's one of the most important that we could be doing. So let me explain. So if you haven't watched my video about deuterium, which is a big topic, but I made a video to try to explain why deuterium management in the body is so profoundly important for cellular health, which is to say health. So deuterium is there are many mechanisms in place in the body for managing deuterium. Deuterium, just the quickie, is an isotope of hydrogen. So anywhere you might find hydrogen in the universe, you're going to find some deuterium. And that means we have deuterium in our bodies. It comes in with our food, it comes with water. Uh, and deuterium is toxic to our cells for the most part. So we have to manage deuterium to. So, okay, however, so deuterium is found wherever you find hydrogen. Well, hydrogen gas is everywhere. It's part of the atmosphere. It's our bodies are constantly making hydrogen in our guts. Our microbiome is is the large percentage of the healthy bugs in our guts make hydrogen gas. So, I'm gonna kind of walk you through. Let me change my scene here. Look, I'm getting a little more high tech. But let me start over here. So, hydrogen gas is made in the gut, and it's recognized that hydrogen gas actually has many beneficial properties. And there are lots of studies of all the therapeutic properties of hydrogen gas. It's antioxidant, it activates immune cells, it has some anti-cancer properties, it facilitates oxygen utilization in the body. It has lots of beneficial properties. This is just a review. I found potential benefits of hydrogen enriched. So you can bubble hydrogen gas through your water to dissolve the gas into the water. You got to drink it pretty quickly after you do that, or else it'll evaporate out. But you can hydrogenate your water. I'll talk about that more. uh, Different benefits: physical endurance, liver function, cardiovascular disease, mental health, COVID 19, oxidative stress, antioxidant. This big list of conditions that seem to benefit when you have people with those conditions drink water with hydrogen dissolved into it. So, that's not a new finding. It's been known for a long time that hydrogen has lots of medicinal benefits. I just saw Dr. Stephanie Seneff. She and I have done worked on a lot of papers together, and she then has all kinds of other projects that she works on all the time. And just saw that she and this other Dr. Laszlo Boros, who is kind of maybe the world's leading authority on the biochemistry of deuterium. He's, I think, at UCLA. So those two just published a paper together very recently, pointing out that the human microbiome plays an essential role, but often overlooked role, in maintaining a supply of deuterium depleted nutrients in the body. So gut bugs are constantly like scrubbing the incoming hydrogen to filter out deuterium that makes its way in along the way. And in this constant kind of a recycling of the hydrogen, putting it through filters and filters and filters to make sure that the deuterium gets scrubbed out. That is a something that we actually talked about in another aspect of it in this paper. um what is it? The production of deuterium depleted nutrients necessarily, oh yeah, necessarily, if you are scrubbing out all the deuterium, well, you've got deuterium left behind. You got to do something with it. So in this paper, which we published back in May of last year, we laid out these very unique molecules that we have either through the diet or that we make internally that trap the deuterium that's left behind, so that it goes out in the stool. It can also go out in the urine, but essentially they're these molecules that are hanging out in the environment. So whenever an ambient deuterium shows up, bam, it is trapped. That molecule stops doing whatever else it was doing. Now it's got this deuterium. Once it's got that, it kind of tucks up into a ball and finds the nearest exit, which we need to do. That's part of the maintenance process for keeping deuterium levels low. And it's very important to keep it low in the gut because, keep in mind, the gut is producing hydrogen. That hydrogen needs to be very low in deuterium because that hydrogen is used to build many other kinds of molecules. So it's used to build methane, for example, with methylation. We all kind of heard about methylation, and I have a methylation problem and I can't take methylated this and that. Methyl groups are a big deal. We're making deuterium-depleted methyl groups in our gut. It's very important that there are no deuterium stuck onto the methyl groups that are getting used in the body, because if it is, it shuts that stuff down downstream, wherever that methyl group is getting used. So the guts help us make deuterium-depleted methyl groups. And there's another, melatonin is another way that it cycles. So there are cycles specific to hydrogen. Another cycling that we publish in this paper, this one is getting held up in peer review. They think even if you call your paper a hypothesis, it's like academia is so uptight these days that a paper like this, they say, yeah, we know you said it's a hypothesis, but that's a little too much of a hypothetical hypothesis. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Anyway, that's the nature of publishing. So this one we submitted in June of last year, and this is specifically how melatonin. Most of your melatonin, by the way, is not made in your pineal gland up here to help you sleep. It's made in your gut. And it's playing all kinds of roles in maintaining the health of the gut. So melatonin goes through a cycling process in the cells lining the gut and also involving the liver. It cycles between melatonin and N-acetyl serotonin, and it keeps going in this back and forth. And every time it cycles, it's generating both deuterium depleted water and deuterium depleted hydrogen. So it's another way that the gut is constantly generating these deuterium depleted molecules. We published this paper. This is another one actually that I believe it also got hung up for the exact same reason. Yeah, you said it's a hypothesis paper, but it seems a little too hypothetical. It's like, what is that? So this was back in September. Oh, this is more recent actually, September of 25. And in particular, we're talking about the methyl groups, like I just said. And in this paper in particular, we mentioned choline as the nutrient choline, which is like related to the B vitamins. It is a methyl. It's methylated. It has a methyl group built into it, a few of them. And we talk about choline in particular. Now, what is unique, what comes through in this paper that we find, is that with choline, when you take choline as a supplement, it doesn't have much benefit. When you eat a diet that is rich in choline, it has a benefit. So that's like, why would that be? Well, I'm going to tell you. It's because when you take supplements with choline, if you look at the form of choline that's in them, almost all of the supplements that are sold The choline is synthesized in a lab. Choline bitartrate, that's the most common one. That one is chemical synthesized, which means everything in a lab, when you synthesize something, you use water as the solvent. The water being used to make that form of choline that's getting sold in supplements is not deuterium depleted. So, deuterium is getting incorporated into the supplement. And in fact, this is going to be true of every supplement. So, there are studies where, oh, well, you give them the supplement, it doesn't help, but you have people eat eggs, which are a high source of choline, and you see the benefit that you didn't see when you just take the choline. So the point is that we want our nutrients, the supplements that we're taking, to be choline, low in choline, low in deuterium. Ugh. So, how do we do that? Well, unfortunately, we're not going to convince the supplement makers that they need to invest the large amount of money they would have to invest in utilizing deuterium depleted water in the manufacture of the supplements. It's just not going to happen. But there are, I think, a couple of things that we can do that can be very helpful. One of them, I'm going to tell you about it. I told you I'd get to the therapy. Here it is. So you can create water that is hydrogenated. So a device like this, uh, Ion Bottles is the brand. I didn't buy this one, but it works. So you can add water to this, press the button, and it starts bubbling. And it's bubbling hydrogen through the water. And it will increase the hydrogen content of the water up to about, I think it's around, what's this one get to? I think maybe 6 parts per million, something like that. So great. All the studies that on all the studies that have been done on the benefits of hydrogenated water are using standard drinking water, which you can do. You can add hydrogen to it, you drink it, you're bringing in more hydrogen. Now, keep in mind that the hydrogen these things are creating has the same amount of deuterium in it as the water it's made from. So, your standard drinking water, whatever bottle, it doesn't matter, filtered bottle, spring water, distilled water, whatever, it doesn't matter. It all has right around 150 parts per million of deuterium. Getting the deuterium out of your water is a very intensive industrial process. You have to buy water that is specifically deuterium depleted water. Sort of like this. So, this water I happen to get this here. This is where I send my patients. It's called, the company is called HydroHealth. The website is extralightwater.com. And they sell water that is, for the most part, 50, 25, or 10 parts per million of deuterium. So, and I mean, it's a whole other topic. Deuterium depleted water, DDW, its drawback is that it's not cheap. It is hard to make. It's very energy intensive to make it, and so it just is not cheap. So I get a case of this, 24 of these 500 milliliter bottles. I get a case. If you just buy one case, it's $190 per case. I am on a subscription that I just get a box sent to me every 3 weeks. So every 21 days, I get a bottle of 24 of these. I drink approximately one a day, a little more, a little less. I essentially run out right about the time the next shipment comes. Maybe I'm a little 2 days early, or, I've got 2 extra days or whatever. I'm not trying to calculate it all out. I'm just trying to drink approximately one a day. So, first thing in the morning, what am I doing? This fills with deuterium. I bubble the hydrogen through that because now what's going to happen? Now that hydrogen is deuterium depleted hydrogen. Now, when I drink this, that means that the hydrogen that is now filtering through my gut, which is hydrogen getting used to build methane molecules, to build sulfur dioxide molecules, or hydrogen sulfide molecules used to build other, short chain fatty acids. All of those hydrogens in my gut that are getting used to build those molecules, they're going to be deuterium depleted. Whereas if I just use regular drinking water, that hydrogen gas is not deuterium depleted. That means that the gut bacteria have a much bigger responsibility for exactly what Stephanie and Laszlo were writing about, that they've got to scrub it. And a lot of people have gut problems, and the bacteria that do the scrubbing are not necessarily the ones that make us feel the best in our gut, but they're doing important work. Bacteria don't care about how they make us feel. They care that the work gets done that needs to get done. So what I'm saying is that if that water goes in that thing and you make deuterium depleted hydrogenated water, and then here's the kicker, use that water. I've got my supplements that I take every morning. I get them all out and ready. I let this run. When this is done, I get my handful of supplements, I throw them in, I drink it with this. I drink this all at one time. So now all of those nutrients are in an environment that has deuterium depleted hydrogen around, so that if they do need to have deuterium swapped out for a clean hydrogen, it's there. So that is my long way of getting to the point that if you are able, and keeping in mind, okay, so it's $192 for a case. I have mine delivered on a subscription that takes, I think, 10% off. So I'm paying $172.50 per case each time. It's not cheap, but in my mind, it's like paying insurance. Like, the longer you persist with low deuterium level in your body, the less risk that you're going to get sick in whatever way. Lots of different things. The risk is lowered when you have a lower deuterium level in the body. So I consider it, this is more important than 10 other supplements that I could be paying the same amount for every month. This goes in this. That's what I use to take my supplements with. So that is a long way of getting to the point that as a home therapy, I consider this one of the most important things that I do. It ranks up there with daily exercise in terms of keeping cellular health what it should be. So I hope you found that to be valuable. Please, I gotta say to subscribe, like and subscribe. It really does help to promote these videos. So I appreciate it when you do that. If you have comments or questions, you can leave them here, and I will check back in and try to get all of those addressed as I can. I will be back before too long with another very exciting episode of The Deep Dive.